Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zeng Kong. Homage to the 16th Dharma King Karmapa. And homage to Master Dzogchen Dorje. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. And homage to the main deity of the group practice today, Jambala. So, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, and temple directors, all disciples present here and over the internet, and our participating VIPs today. From the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Taiwan, Secretary General Daniel Liao's wife, Dharma Sister Judy. Accountant to the True Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa. And the law advisor to the True Buddha Tantrayana Association of Taiwan, Mr. Lu Wenxiang, Dr. Ryan Zhuang, and the assistant to the former Vice President Li Xiulian, and the PR director of the International Business Association, Business Women Association, Dharma Sister Che Huiling. A dancer from the Sunny Line Dance Group of Taiwan, Dharma Sister Ling Yixin. From the Tian Yin Ya Yue Choir, Dharma Brother Ge Mingde and Dharma Sister Lin Yizhan. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? We had the group practice of Jambala today. In Tibetans, he's called Jambala, which is the yellow wealth deity. And he is one of the four heavenly kings, or the four, which is the manifestation of the heavenly king of the north. And in heavens, and in the four heavenly heavens, in the four heavens of the four heavenly kings, they reside midway of the Mount Sumeru. This is strange. So midway of Mount Sumeru. And those are the palaces that they live in. They're made of crystals, of gold, silver, and also all different kinds of precious items. each in our lunar calendar, there would be a time where the four heavenly kings would go on patrolling the Saha world. It is as if they are the four of the guardians. The heavenly king of the north, Vaishravana, and Virudaka, Dhritarashtra, and Virupaksa, the four heavenly kings. And also many of their god generals and militaries. So they're part of the heavenly realm of desire. So they are bestowing wealth to human beings, to people, and in the heavenly realm, the richest ones are the four heavenly kings. And on earth, the richest one would be the mountain god. And in the ocean, in the water, the richest one would be the dragon king. And in the human world, in the Saha world, if a human being wants some wealth and riches, they need wealth in order to cultivate spiritually. In Tantrayana, you need to have enough or sufficient resources in order to cultivate spiritually. And in Zen Buddhism or other ordinary Buddhism, you don't necessarily need lots of resources or wealth to cultivate. Say, if you just take refuge in Mahayana Buddhism, you don't need a lot of wealth. But taking refuge in Tantric Buddhism, say, in order to set up an altar or a shrine, you need to use the best kinds of items to set it up, say, made of gold. Of course, these are not real gold, it's just gold plated. This is the cross Vajra scepters. You need Vajra bell, and you need Vajra scepter, and the drum, and mala, chanting beads, and this is made of body seeds. And you need to set up the 8 offerings, and all the Buddhist statues have to be very dignified, beautiful. And each of your main deity would need his own altar. And just to set up the altar would need quite a bit of expenses. That's why there is a saying that tantric practitioners are typically have money, and the Zen practitioners, and they don't. Sometimes they don't even need an altar or a shrine. They don't need anything. So the tantric practitioners are rich, and the Zen practitioners are poor. And tantric renunciates, the left home Sangha member, they, in order to set up this offering mandala, they need a true jewels and gems, a true gold offering plate, or at least silver offering plate, or the worst kind would be made of brass. So that would be a lot of money. In order to receive an empowerment, you also need some money, some resources to offer to your root guru in order to receive the empowerment. In The Path and Its Fruit, or Laundry, in this book, it was written at those times when the Tibetans went to their gurus to ask for empowerments. There was Zhou Mi Yi Si that conferring empowerment. And you need to be rich. You have to be able to offer a number of cows and a number of sheep to the guru in order to receive the empowerment. And Marpa was also the disciple of Zhou Mi Yi Si. So Marpa from Tibet, patriarch, was studying at the Zhou Mi Yi Si's place, and only by making offering of a lot of things that he asked for empowerment. And he asked for the sadhana for Guya Samaya Heruka practices. And Zhou Mi Yi Si didn't even consent, didn't give the empowerment. So Marpa did not get that from Zhou Mi Yi Si. So, and then Marpa sold his assets and brought gold and went to India and found Naropa and studied Guya Samaya, Hevajra, and many other Dharma practices there. And he also took refuge in many gurus. So you had to prepare gold and travel all the way from Tibet to India and seek in quest of the Dharma before he returned back to Tibet. So you need lots of money for one empowerment or one Dharma. And he had to travel so far. And the expenses was tremendous. He went to India 3 times. So in Laundry, it mentioned about Zhou Mi Yi Si that this guru conferred empowerments and offerings of cows and sheep had to be offered to the guru before the empowerment would be conferred upon you. So you need a lot of money in order to receive an empowerment. And there are a lot of tantrikas who, after they receive empowerment, they would practice it in seclusion. But in Buddha school, we don't have any requirement that in order to receive empowerment, you need so many cows, so many sheep, or so many cars. Everything is voluntary. But to study Tantrayana at that time, although it was popular in Tibet, you still need a lot of riches in order to offer to the guru. And during the Qing dynasty, Tantrayana was only popular inside the palace, but not among the commoners. So Tantrayana at that time was truly precious, highly valued. And you make offering to Zhangjia, living Buddha, or Ganzhu, living Buddha, during the Qing dynasty. And those who translated the sutras were Tupta Nima, one of our lineage gurus of our school, Tupta Nima, during the Qing dynasty. So they translated from Sanskrit or Indian languages and Tibetan language and also Manchurian language. So only those belong to the palace or the court, the royal court, could cultivate spiritually, cultivate the tantric practices. So during Guru Padmasambhava in Tibet, there was only King Trisong Tejin and his 25 ministers who studied, who learned the tantric practices, and were not popular among the people, the common people. So in practicing tantric dharma, we need to have beautiful altar, and that would create joy inside your heart and also would please the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Then they would descend upon your altar. But if your altar is too simple, in the Kriya and Karma practices, if your altar is too simple, the deities will not be pleased and it will not generate joy in your own hearts when you look at your own shrine. So for Tantrayana, you need to set up a shrine, and you need a lot of money in order to set up a beautiful shrine. So only in Tantrayana, we have wealth deities or will deity dharma practices, and primarily so that Tantrika can attain more resources, so that we can set up a beautiful and dignified altar that's made of gold, silver, and all the precious jewels. So only in Tantrayana we have the wealth dharma practices, and that's also for convenience. So I hope that at True Buddha School, Jambala is one of the 8 primary deities, in the hope that everyone can leave behind suffering and gain happiness. That every one of us is endowed with sufficient resources. And when you have no worries for money, then you can have peace to cultivate spiritually. If you're always worried about having enough living necessities, then how can you cultivate spiritually wholeheartedly? So if we have enough money, then that's already halfway. So even a hero cannot without money. So money in this world is still useful. In the Saha world is still useful. And there's also the intangible resources, all the merits that you gain through spiritual cultivation is in the heavens, and it is called the intangible wealth or resources. And then the wealth that you have on earth is the tangible wealth or resources, and we need both of them. That's why we need to do the practice of the wealth deities. So we are very pragmatic these days. So the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum has become Om Mani coming home. So the world is too realistic, practical. Doesn't matter how handsome or how tall you are, but if you have no money, then the question would be, is it love or money? Actually, you need both. You need both love and bread. But if you have no bread, how can you have love? So now everybody is too pragmatic. Before a girl wants to marry a guy, they want to weigh how much money they have, how much assets they have. There are lots of beautiful artists that would just marry to the rich first or second generation wealthy man. Extremely rich man. That's the real world. And in the real world, we cannot live without money. Now let's continue on the Great Perfection Dharma. So the spiritual leader of True Buddha School, the Holy Red Crown Raja Master, has enunciated the universal I, Dharma, and the three learnings, with the exception of a few untold secrets that need to be transmitted personally. And a true guru would be a real reliance for sentient beings. So oral transmission in Tibet is extremely important. So told by the gurus and listened to by the disciples. Sometimes you have to say it in person. As you know, Atisha, when he transmitted the Dharma, he divided into three paths for those with the higher spiritual abilities or mediocre or lower. And in Kagyupa, it's the same. There's only oral transmission. You can't just follow the books. They need to first receive 4 kinds of empowerments before they can be transmitted the Mahamudra Dharma. Prior to receiving these 4 empowerments, they cannot be transmitted the Mahamudra. And the first empowerment is called the vase empowerment for the outer Dharma practices, empowerments for the inner Dharma practices, and then empowerments for the highest Yoga Tantra. And lastly is the completion empowerments and after they receive these 4 kinds of empowerments, they can receive the empowerment for Mahamudra and Great Perfection Dharma. So in Tantrayana, they go step by step, stage by stage in their spiritual cultivation. And what I said here, universal I and the 3 learnings. So that's the visualization method of the universal I and unobstructed Dharma realm, plus the 3 learnings of precepts, meditative stabilization, and wisdom. And the visualization method of the universal I is the Dharma realm of enlightenment and also the unobstructed Dharma realm. If you are defamed once, twice, 3 times, and you could not bear it anymore, and you left, abandoned to Buddha school, that means that you have not mastered the universal I and unobstructed Dharma realm. Because in this realm, there are no obstructions whatsoever. In the human world, there are lots of rumors and true and false. When there's a human being, when there are human beings, there always is true and false. There are always words, true and false words. But in the moon, there are no human beings. Of course, there are no words. So in this world, it's just between you and me, or within each family, there would always be these true and false words. That's why we say that there's always problems inside each family. So among neighbors, there are also true and false words there, or inside the company too. They are also there, and also at spiritual centers. If you think that, oh, I don't want to work anymore, let's just go and stay at the spiritual centers. Then even there are true and false words. And also inside the building of apartments, the same. Or if you go to a city, it's the same. Or you go to the countries, or between countries, there are also true and false words. Inside a country or between countries, they're always there. It's never ending. Very simple. But once you master the universal I and unobstructed Dharma realm, all these true and false words are gone. This is the world filled with true and false words. Let me tell you about that in the family. The father prayed to God, "Dear God, please let the typhoon come on Friday. Then I would have a 3-day weekend." That was the prayer of the father. And the son prayed, "Dear God, please let typhoon come next Monday. Then my quota will be delayed, postponed." And the mother prayed, "Oh dear God, let the typhoon come next Wednesday. Then I don't need to attend a meeting." She didn't want to attend the meeting. After God heard the prayers of this family, he got upset. They're so annoying. Even the God can be annoyed because it's hard for him to handle it. Everybody thinks differently. So this is the world with true and false words. But once you mastered this unobstructed Dharma realm, inside any Dharma realm you would be unobstructed. And the best way is to learn the Sravakahood, that you close off the six senses of the visions, hearing, speaking, smelling, touching, thinking. So don't see, don't look, don't hear, don't listen, don't speak, don't think. And don't smell with your nose. And don't let your body touch it. Then everything is gone. That's the spiritual cultivation of a Sravaka or solitary hearer. You first close off your senses. You kill off the six thieves. That's the basic. Then you can let your mind be still in order to cultivate spiritually. In the park, there are two elderly women playing chess. And a lot of people watching on the side. And they were thinking for about 10 minutes. And everybody was just watching and waiting. And then one of the elderly man, actually man, not woman, asked, "Whose turn is it?" And the other elderly man said, "Well, I don't know, I forgot." So everybody was waiting and they forgot whose turn it was. So that was a good thing. Why did I say it was a good thing? You know, don't remember too many things. It's better to be simple, like Grandmaster. Because Grandmaster doesn't know how to use computer, doesn't know how to get on the internet. I have no smartphones. And Sumu said, "You don't have smartphones?" Everybody has smartphones these days. But it's strange. The cell phone that Lin Yin gave me, the screen is this small, as big as a watch. And Simu said, "That's smartphone. Do you know how to use it?" "No, I just know how to make a phone call. I never use anything else, any other parts of the phone. Because when you drive, you want to have a cell phone. You know, if you meet some problem, then you need to call to the True Foundation for help. If you have no cell phone, that would be a problem. You have to borrow somebody else's." But the screen was so small. Was that a smartphone? I don't know. I don't know what smartphones are. Well, I see yours have this big screen. And you can line here and there and send text messages. I don't. And the phone would say, like, "You have 3 new messages." But I don't know how to look at them. I don't know how to listen to the messages. So on my phone it said there were over 50 or 100 messages, and I never listened to any of them. I only know how to dial the phone. So I never listened to them. and I never reply, and I never get on the internet. That's such a small screen. How can I get to the internet? Get on the internet? No, you can't. He said, you can't get on the internet. So you can't. So I never get on the internet. Since you never get on the internet, how can you ever see the slanders on the internet? It must be shown to me by other people, but I don't want to know about them. Even when you print them out for me, I don't want to read them, and I don't have time to read them. Every day I do my practice, write my books, and do my own homework, and I have not enough time already. All morning is gone by doing my practice and writing my books, and the afternoons too. I'm so busy. I have no time to do what I'm supposed to do. How can I have time to get on the internet and see those nonsense stuff and line back and forth? Oh. If I have line, everybody would line to me and I would be dead. So I really don't know how to use that. I know a girlfriend in Taiwan, and Simu didn't know of this. And she told me, oh, you can send me line. She didn't know that I don't know anything about line. I only know how to make a phone call. And she said, oh, I will not receive the phone call. I only know how to use line. So we break up right away. Soon after. One time, she took her cell phone to me and see, just do this. And then, that's it. Line is sent. You don't know how to use this? No. Because I don't have that kind of phone. I don't know how to use line. So cut. Gone. Very safe. So Simu, please be rest assured. So you don't know anything. Like that old man, he forgot right away. Very simple. My mind is very simple. When I do something, I just concentrate on it, and there's nothing else. So I have no worries in my mind, no problems in my mind. And I don't think too much, not like this. This person said, I don't want to drink anymore. I felt bad. But if I don't drink, the wine factories will close down, and then their employees would lose their jobs, and then the society would be affected, and the country will be unstable, and the economy would be affected, and it would affect globally. And then they start fighting for resources, and they start to fight each other, and then the world would be gone. And because of this, I decided to drink every day, a little bit. He said, oh, it's okay if I feel bad, because this would save the world. So, think that much just about drinking. people think too much these days. And because of that, you start to worry. Then you start to have afflictions. Then you cannot be universal I and unobstructed Dharma realm. Very simple. Don't think too much. Just focus on one Dharma practice. I've told you before, 3 key formulas. When you're young, you can visit more spiritual centers and listen more to the Dharma teachings. When you're young, listen more to the teachings. And you go to different spiritual centers and find the one that's suitable for you. And you stay there. Once you reach midlife, after listening to lots of Dharma, you focus and concentrate on one Dharma practice. And you go deep on this Dharma. You don't want to do this practice because you hear Grandmaster said that this practice is good, and then if that practice is good, then you start on that other practice again. No, you don't do that. You just focus on one practice until it is thorough, until you are connected. Because once you connect with one Dharma, you connect with all Dharma, and that's called the universal I. First, you have one divine I, and then you would have divine I all over your body. And once you gain the divine I, what you see is different from the ordinary people. So, if you focus and go deep on one Dharma, that's very different. And once you gain yogic response with this deity, then you are connected with all deities. That's why we say one is many and many is one. So don't learn too many dharmas. You just want to create an affinity with them. But what you practice remains the same. You focus on one practice. And once you reach old age, please remember that all you want is to go to the Pure Land and attain Buddhahood. So once you reach the old age, all you want to know is, I want to be reborn into the Pure Land, or that I have attainment in this lifetime, direct Buddhahood in this body, in this lifetime, or going to the Pure Lands. That's all. You don't need the rest. So this universal I is unobstructed, unimpeded. Once you master one, you have attainment. You don't think that I want to learn Mahamudra and also Great Perfection Dharma and Lamdri from Sakyapa. And you want the path and its fruit or Lamdri from Sakyapa, and the Great Perfection Dharma or Dzogchen of Nyingmapa, the Mahamudra of Kagyupa, and the Yamantaka of Gelugpa, and you learn everything, then you become a generalist. You kind of know a little bit of everything, other than the masters who need to comprehend all Dharma. For most practitioners, we just want to focus and specialize on one Dharma. So unobstructed Dharma realm is perfect. And before you reach this perfection, you would suffer a lot. You would still suffer a lot. So human beings these days live in misery, like when they crowd or on the bus or on the subways during rush hours. They squish into the train. This is a curse. And because he was squished inside at the center, he said, well, I had missed my stop, several stops. I couldn't get off the train. And the other one, you know, you're better than I am. I was just passing by, and I was being crowded onto the train without wanting to. And then there was a 40-year-old man said, please give way, please let me pass. I'm the driver for this bus. So who is driving the bus now? Even the bus driver was crowded. It was crowded out. So as we know, the traffic jams in America, it's not so bad. Americans are very patient. Like during the traffic jam, they just wait patiently. They don't honk the horn. So even if they have to wait for half an hour, they just wait together. But in other countries, they have short tempers. When in a traffic jam, like the whole highways become like a parking lot. I read it in the news, or I watched it in the news. So the people got off the cars and they dance, ballroom dance during traffic jam, or they dance line dance. But as you know, there are a lot of people with short temper, and they started to curse and fight and argue and shout. So traffic jams are problematic. So if they get in a jam, let's get in a jam together. If there's no jam, there's no jam. So unobstructed. So it's okay. They all just hold their peace together. If they are stuck for 4 or 5 hours, they prepare water bottles in the cars because they often get in a traffic jam. So they have to prepare water bottles and also maybe some bread. You would get hungry. Make sure that the gas is filled. So 3 learnings of precepts: meditative stabilization and wisdom, unobstructed Dharma realm, and all words die and all thoughts stop. This is very important. Just forget about everything and live a simple life. That would be very happy. When we were young, we lived a very simple life. When we were young, there was no television. When we were little, there were no televisions. And in the beginning, the televisions were black and white. And you don't know anything about global news, because the global news let you worry about the world, or national news make you worry about the nations or about the neighborhood. Then you worry about the neighborhood. If you just let them all go and just take a straw mat and sit on your yard looking up to the sky, counting the stars, sit sitting on the straw mat, you would live your life really happily, and maybe some melon seeds and candies. That's how we spent our childhood. And we were sitting on the straw mats looking at the stars in the sky. We lived really happily then, and not these days anymore. Let's return to the basics, to the simple life. That's the philosophy of Lao Tzu. He thought that it's best if everybody is dumb or stupid. If you're too smart, then that would increase your worries or problems. And you get up and you eat 3 times a day and you work, and at night you come home and sleep. There's no need to watch the news or read the newspapers, no need to listen to the radios, to watch TVs, no need. This kind of people can be reborn into the Pure Lands. Otherwise, if you hear 3 sentences, then you would lose your commitment in spiritual cultivation. That people scorn me or talked about something untruthful about me, bad-mouthing me, or you got on the televisions, or you got on the internet, and they scorn you about the pain on your head all the way to your feet. Nothing is good at all. Everything was bad. Then you wouldn't believe in Buddhism anymore. You would have faith in Allah. But it's all the same. There would still be true and false words about you. There's an Dzogchen doctor was sitting together with the banker at the dinner. After they introduced each other, the doctor told the bank manager that, hey, we're in the same field. And the bank manager thought, how come? What do you mean? I'm a bank manager and you're an obscene doctor. How could we be in the same field? And then the doctor explained, what you handle is money, and what I handle is woman. We can just look and touch, but cannot use them. So we are in the same field. Well, that's reasonable. So he thought too much. How could an obscene doctor is in the same field with the bank manager, and reporter and prostitute are also in the same field? That's strange. How come? The reporter said, the prostitute said that. The prostitute association and the reporter associations are the same. Did you write it in the newspaper? That it's open to public. And welcome. We welcome your submission, and the same prostitution, we welcome your submission. And it's non-returnable. We will not return the scripts. So that's why the associations for reporters is the same, or it's the same field as the association for prostitutes. They think too much. This is thinking too much. This is also a joke. Grandma made a phone call to Granddad. On your way home, please buy a sack of newspaper and bring it home. And then, if you see a watermelon, please buy one. Oh, please buy a bag of buns. And if you see a watermelon peddler, buy a watermelon. And that evening, Granddad just bought one bun. And the grandma was mad. Why? Just one. Because I saw the watermelon peddler. Because grandma said, buy a bag of buns, but if you see the watermelon peddler, buy one. What she meant actually is to buy a bag of buns and a watermelon. But Granddad thought, if you see the watermelon peddler, just buy one bun. So of course there would be some contradiction between the words of Grandpa and Grandma. Of course there would be some problems happening, but it's okay, just forget them all. There's a benefit about forgetting. Grandma and Granddad are watching TVs upstairs. So after a while, Grandma told Granddad, can you go downstairs, open the fridge, get me some ice cream and put strawberries on top of it? And Granddad said, okay. And he walked downstairs, and Grandma said, do you want to write it down? And Granddad said, oh, this is small case, ice cream and strawberry. How could I forget it? And Granddad walked downstairs, and after a while, he got a bowl of noodle. And when Grandma saw that, said, how come? I told you to add eggs on it. Even when they both forget, they still argue. Both of them forget. They are already true and false words, even when you forget. And so moreover, when you don't forget. So all words die and all thoughts stop. Don't think and don't say much. And don't say anything. Just practice, uphold your mind, and correct your conduct, and you would be reborn into the Buddha lands. This is called an unobstructed Dharma realm. If you can be in control of your mind, that's precepts. If you're watchful of your heart, then that's meditation or stability. And when your mind is still and unmoved, then you would generate wisdom. Om Mani Padme Hum.